What if that duty pistol in your drawer could pay for a brand new car? What if the gun you almost sold for pocket change is now worth more than gold by weight? Across the country, collectors are quietly bidding up prices, turning ordinary handguns into once-in-a-lifetime jackpots. The only question is, do you already own one without even realizing it? Today, we're revealing 20 handguns climbing so fast in value that missing out might haunt you forever. Number 20, the Luger P08 Swiss long production variants. While most people recognize the Luger as Germany's sidearm from the World Wars, Switzerland quietly produced their own version for decades. Known for their precision and unmatched attention to detail, the Swiss Lugers were chambered in 7.65 parabellum before later switching to 9mm, and they carried the same distinctive toggle lock action that makes the Luger instantly recognizable. What sets the Swiss runs apart is their quality. These pistols were hand-fitted and finished to standards even higher than their German counterparts, and production stretched from the early 1900s well into the mid-20th century. Collectors prized their clean machining, unique markings, and of course the long production timeline that makes them distinct from wartime pieces. Prices that once hovered in the low hundreds are now climbing fast. Standard examples in good condition can easily fetch $1,500 to $3,000, while rare late-run issues or those in pristine condition push even higher. For collectors, a Swiss Luger is more than a firearm. It's a piece of old-world craftsmanship with a direct tie to European history. Number 19, the Brent 10 collector sets and specialty releases. The Brent 10 has always carried a certain mystique, thanks in part to his famous appearance on Miami Vice. But beyond the standard models is the factory collector sets and rare specialty releases that have become real treasures. These often include unique finishes, presentation cases, and in some cases, matching accessories that push them far above regular production guns. Back in the 1980s, when the Brent 10 project collapsed, many of these sets were overlooked or sold cheap. Today, they're commanding serious premiums, with prices ranging from $3,000 to over $6,000, depending on rarity and completeness. For collectors, owning one of these sets isn't just about the pistol, it's about holding a snapshot of firearm pop culture history. Number 18, the Colt Python Strike, year variants. In 1986, Colt faced a major labor strike that slowed production, and the legendary Python revolver was right in the middle of it. Some owners at the time criticized the finish and fit, saying they didn't match the flawless craftsmanship of earlier models. But, as so often happens in collecting, controversy turned into value. Chambered in .357 Magnum, the Python still carried the famous smooth trigger pull, full underlug barrel, and striking profile that defined it as one of the finest revolvers ever made. Prices that once sat under $1,000 now range from $3,000 to $5,000, with rare barrel lengths climbing even higher. Collectors see these strike-year Pythons as unique artifacts of Colt's turbulent history, and demand is only growing. Number 17, the Springfield XD discounted models. When Springfield introduced the XD line, it was praised for blending affordability with performance. The compact SDS and the competition-focused XDM Elite became instant hits, winning awards and carving out a loyal following. But as Springfield shifted focus to newer designs, some of the earlier XD models were quietly discontinued, and that's where collectors started paying attention. Discontinued handguns often see a sharp rise in value once supply dries up, and the XD series is no different. Models that once sold new for $400 to $500 are now climbing toward the $800 mark, with special runs or rare calibers pushing past that. For shooters who value practical reliability, these pistols deliver, and their growing scarcity ensures they'll keep trending upward. Number 16, the Browning High Power First Run Military Production Models. The Browning High Power, designed by John Browning and completed by Dudoni Save, became one of the most influential sidearms of the 20th century, but the earliest military production runs are the ones that collectors chase hardest. Built in Belgium before World War II, these pistols featured hand-fitted steel, deep blued finishes, and wooden grips that gave them both beauty and durability. Issued to armies across Europe, they quickly built a reputation for reliability and high capacity with their 13-round magazines. For decades, surplus examples were affordable, but those days are long gone. Clean, early military high powers now bring $1,500 to $3,000, with rare contract pistols climbing higher. Owning one is like owning the blueprint of modern service pistols in your hand. Number 15, the Colt 2000 aluminum frame variants. The Colt 2000, sometimes called the All-American 2000, was Colt's bold entry into the polymer pistol boom of the early 1990s. It featured a rotating barrel, sleek modern styling, and ambitions to compete with Glock. But quality control problems and poor reception cut production short, and the gun was shelved after only a few years. What most people overlook is the rare aluminum frame version. Produced in much smaller numbers than the standard polymer models, these aluminum variants have become the real prize for collectors. While regular Colt 2000s sell in the $1,200 to $1,500 range, the aluminum examples climb higher, sometimes doubling those figures in pristine condition. Once dismissed as a failed experiment, they've turned into one of Colt's most surprising collectibles. Number 14, the SIG P210. The SIG P210 is often described as the Swiss watch of service pistols. First issued in the late 1940s to the Swiss military, it was built with such precision that many say it felt more like a custom target gun than a mass-produced sidearm. Its hallmark is accuracy. The slide runs inside the frame rails, creating an incredibly tight lockup and near-perfect shot consistency. Originally dismissed as too expensive for wide adoption, the limited runs are exactly why it's become so valuable today. Standard models that once sold for under $1,000 are now fetching $3,000 to $5,000, with rare military contracts and early production pistols climbing even higher. For collectors, the P210 represents elegance, precision, and the kind of old-world craftsmanship no longer found in modern service pistols. Number 13, the Heckler and Koch P7. The HK P7 is one of the most unique pistols ever made, instantly recognizable for its squeeze-cocker design. Introduced in the late 1970s, it was engineered for safety and speed. Gripping the front strap cocked the striker, and releasing it instantly decocked the pistol. Chambered in 9mm with a fixed barrel and low bore axis, it delivers superb accuracy and soft recoil. Although praised by police and elite units in Germany and abroad, the complex design and high production costs limited its long-term success. Production ended in the early 2000s, and since then prices have surged. A pistol once under $1,000 now often sells for $3,500 to $4,500, with rare P7 M13 or P7 K3 variants commanding even higher bids. Number 12, the Colt Python 2.5-inch and 8-inch barrel variants. The Colt Python is already legendary, but it's the unusual barrel lengths that have collectors digging deepest into their wallets. The 2.5-inch snub nose and the long 8-inch target versions were produced in far smaller numbers compared to the standard 4-inch and 6-inch models. That scarcity, combined with the Python's reputation as the finest double-action revolver ever made, has turned these into hot commodities. Chambered in .357 and known for their flawless triggers and premium finish, these special-length Pythons once sold for around $1,200. Today, clean examples range from $4,000 to over $7,000, with nickel finishes or mint-condition guns pushing even higher. For revolver collectors, owning one of these rare barrel variants is like having the crown jewel of the Python lineup. Number 11, the Smith & Wesson Model 39. Introduced in the mid-1950s, the Smith & Wesson Model 39 was America's first commercially successful double-action semi-automatic pistol, chambered in 9mm and sporting a sleek alloy frame. It stood out against the heavy steel service pistols of the era. The Model 39 quickly earned a reputation for reliability and innovative design, becoming the foundation for Smith & Wesson's entire semi-automatic pistol line. For decades, these pistols were available at bargain prices, often under $500. But as collectors recognized their historical importance, values began to climb. Today, clean Model 39s are trending between $1,000 and $1,500, with rare early production runs or law enforcement marked examples pushing even higher. It's the kind of gun that quietly shifted the market, and its legacy is finally being rewarded. Number 10, the Browning High Power clones and modern variants. The Browning High Power was so influential that dozens of companies copied or reimagined it, from Israeli police trade-ins to Canadian English wartime production, and now modern clones by Gerson and Tisas. The high-power design keeps reinventing itself. Collectors love the nostalgia of these pistols, especially since FN stopped original production in 2017. The appeal is twofold. On one side, surplus clones with military or police service history are climbing steadily, often selling for $800 to $1,200. On the other side, brand new reproductions and upgraded versions like FN's 2022 High Power have spiked interest in the entire platform, which in turn pushes vintage clones even higher. What was once seen as just a copy is now valued as part of the enduring high-power legacy. Number 9, the Astra 400. Spain's Astra 400, introduced in the early 1920s, served as the country's military sidearm through the Spanish Civil War and into World War II. Chambered in the usual 9mm Largo cartridge, it earned a reputation for toughness and reliability under harsh conditions. German forces even imported these pistols during World War II, giving them a dual-layered history that collectors find fascinating today. For decades, the Astra 400 was dismissed as an odd surplus pistol, often sold for under $200. But with surplus stocks drying up and collectors recognizing their historical importance, values have surged. Today, clean examples are trending between $800 and $1,200, with wartime German-marked pistols pushing even higher. What was once overlooked as cheap surplus is now climbing fast on the collector's market. Number 8, the Luger P08 Vintage Military Models. Few pistols are as instantly recognizable as the Luger P08. Adopted by Germany in 1908, it became the sidearm of both world wars and a symbol of early semi-automatic engineering. Its toggle lock action, slim grip, and connection to 9mm parabellum make it one of the most iconic firearms ever made. For years, surplus Lugers were available for modest prices, but those days are long gone. Standard military-issued models now bring $1,500 to $3,000, with early DWM or Erfurt factory-marked examples commanding even more. Add in artillery or Navy variants, and prices can climb into 5 figures. The Luger's historical significance, combined with a limited supply, ensures that even ordinary wartime examples will continue to rise in collector value. Number 7, the Colt Python Limited, Custom Shop Engraved, release of 2020. When Colt brought back the Python in 2020, collectors rushed to get their hands on them, but a handful of those new production revolvers were taken to another level by custom engravers such as Tyler Gunworks. These hand-engraved, presentation-grade revolvers weren't just firearms, they were works of art. built on the same 357 Magnum platform with smooth trigger pull and refined barrel profile that made the original famous. The engraving and limited runs turned them into instant collectibles. Prices that started in the $1,500 range have exploded into five-figure territory, with some drawing bids over $50,000. For many enthusiasts, these engraved pythons represent the perfect blend of old-school revolver prestige with modern exclusivity. Number 6. The Beretta 92 FS Early U.S. Military M9s. Adopted by the U.S. military in 1985, the Beretta 92 FS, designated the M9, became one of the most recognizable sidearms of its era. Chambered in 9mm with a 15-round magazine and the signature open-slide design, it replaced the Colt 1911 and served through Desert Storm, Iraq, and Afghanistan. For many veterans, it's the sidearm that defined a generation. Standard civilian 92 FS models still sell in the $600 to $800 range, but the real jump is with military contract pistols and early Italian-made imports. Documented M9s with markings or service history now fetch $2,000 to $3,000, with complete sets bringing even more. With the military fully transitioned to the SIG M17, these Berettas are no longer just service pistols, they're rapidly becoming collectibles. Number 5. The Mauser C96 broomhandle. Few pistols carry as much historical weight as the Mauser C96. Produced from the 1890s through the 1930s, its distinctive boxy frame and wooden stock that doubled as a holster made it instantly recognizable. Chambered in 7.63 Mauser and later 9mm, the C96 saw use worldwide, from Winston Churchill carrying one in the Boer War to Chinese warlords fielding them in the early 20th century. For decades, surplus C96 pistols could be found for under $500, but collectors have since realized their importance. Today, standard models often sell between $3,000 and $5,000, while rare Red 9 or pristine stockholder sets climb into five figures. The C96 is more than a handgun, it's a turning point in firearms history, and prices reflect that legacy. Number 4. The Browning High Power Original Models and FN Reintroductions. Designed by John Browning and finished by Deon de Save, the Browning High Power became one of the most influential 9mm pistols of the 20th century. Its 13-round magazine set the standard for capacity, and its slim steel frame gave it excellent balance. Original Belgian-made pistols with deep bluing and walnut grips are especially sought after, particularly military contract models. After FN ended production in 2017, values surged and the demand only grew when FN reintroduced a modernized high power. In 2022, collectors now chase both vintage originals and the new factory-fresh editions, with older models in clean condition often reaching $1,500 to $3,000. The high-power combination of history, design, and modern revival ensures it remains a centerpiece in the handgun collector's market. Number 3. The Luger P08 DWM 45 prototype. Among all collectible pistols, few are as legendary as the mythical 45 caliber Luger. Built in tiny numbers in Deutschwaffen and Munitionsfabriken DWM in the early 1900s, it was created to compete for the U.S. military trials that eventually adopted the Colt 1911. The design retained the Luger's iconic toggle lock action, but scaled it up for the powerful 45 ACP cartridge. Only a handful were ever made, and most are locked away in private collections or museums. Their rarity makes them some of the most valuable handguns in existence, with estimates exceeding $1 million at auction. For collectors, the 45 Luger represents the ultimate prize, a blend of engineering genius, military history, and extreme scarcity. Number 2. The Desert Eagle Early Magnum Research Models. Few pistols are as instantly recognizable as the Desert Eagle. Built in collaboration between Magnum Research and Israel Military Industries during the 1980s, it was chambered in powerful calibers like .357 Magnum, .44 Magnum, and later the massive .50 AE. Oversized and gas-operated, the Desert Eagle was never a standard service sidearm, but instead a showcase of raw power. Early production IMI-marked pistols and rare finishes like nickel, chrome, or two-tone have become the most collectible. Once considered flashy movie props, they're now serious investments. Standard models trade for $2,500 to $4,000, with early runs and uncommon calibers climbing higher. The Desert Eagle's combination of pop culture fame, unique engineering, and sheer size makes it one of the hottest modern handguns to own. Number 1. The Colt Python First Generation, 1955-2005. Often called the Rolls-Royce of revolvers, the Colt Python earned its reputation as the finest double-action revolver ever made. Introduced in 1955, it featured hand-fitted parts, a full underlug barrel, and one of the smoothest triggers ever produced. Chambered in .357 Magnum, the Python quickly became Colt's flagship revolver and a favorite among law enforcement, target shooters, and collectors alike. Early first-generation models, especially those from the 1960s and 70s with the deep royal blue finish, are climbing fastest in value. Once available for around $800 to $1,200, these same revolvers now fetch $4,000 to $6,000, with rare barrel links and pristine condition examples soaring into five figures. For collectors, the original Python remains the ultimate revolver investment. And that wraps up our countdown of 20 handguns that are climbing fast in value. Now, if you want to push your knowledge even further, don't stop here. Check out our next video, where we break down the rifles climbing in value and see if one of them is already sitting in your safe.